This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Look who joins me, the man himself.
Oscar.
Mr. Kalle Sauerland.
Good to be with you, my friend, in Dublin today for this fantastic pay-per-view extravaganza on DAZN this weekend. Very, very excited. Bringing the fight and the music this week, and the music to Dublin.
Yeah, mate, can't wait. The most important question is, are you coming out for a Guinness tonight with me and Parsons?
I'll be out for a Guinness tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday night. I'm even thinking of extending to Monday, so I will be there right at the front line when it comes to the Guinness queue.
I cannot wait. Before we talk boxing, I just spoke to you about this off camera. Just something I want to cover quickly. I was really touched by your story on Instagram about Sven-Göran Eriksson, who the footballing world, the world sadly lost. For those who haven't seen it, go and check it out. But yeah, kind of nice story from your part about a good man.
It was on obviously a very sad Sunday for anyone who likes sport, and you know, I think I had this conversation with Sven. It was the late 90s. I worked it out about 99 in the summer, and I met him in Italy, and he, you know, sitting next to me at dinner, and I probably sort of cheeky young man, 22 at the time. Probably had a couple of drinks at that stage of the evening as well. I've gone to him, what do you do? And he just told me he trained footballers in Italy. But it said the way he made it sound was like, you know, it was like, I don't know, he was a PE teacher, nothing against PE teachers, but it was so like under the radar. And you know, this wasn't the days of Google, you know. So like next day I said, who's that Swedish fella who's doing something with football? And he said, yeah, he's the manager of Lazio. So I'm like, right, missed out on that one. And then 6 years later, bizarrely, grown up a little bit by then, I managed to stage the friendly between England and Argentina when he was obviously the boss in Geneva. So yeah, it went full circle.
Yeah, what a lovely story.
I didn't remind him of that night.
I bet you didn't.
I bet you didn't. But he was such, you know. What a loss, but also what final words, you know. I love the fact he said, look after yourself, look after your life and live it. And I think those words, honestly, you know, that's a quote that will stay with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Rest in peace, Sven-Göran Eriksson. Misfits, 2 years of Misfits, if you can, without it taking hours, because there's been so much that's gone on. How on earth?
It's not an interview, it's a book. In fact, it's probably a
How on earth do you reflect
series
on 2 years of Misfits?
You know, it's funny. I saw.
Should we just use the word carnage?
I saw the obviously the Netflix Matchroom, which I can't wait to watch. I think it'll be great fun. I've worked with Eddie and Frank for many years, Barry as well. Actually, going back a little bit further, that'd be a great show. But we've had 3 different approaches to do the same with Misfits. We actually did a pilot even with one, and then we decided no, it's not the time yet. We've got too much going on, and it was, to be quite honest, some of it you just couldn't have shown. So. That would be the best way to explain Misfits, right? So we might go and do that show on a Netflix or an Amazon in the future. But mate, what can I say? 17 events leading up to this pay-per-view on Saturday night. The first pay-per-view without KSI, at least boxing, singing, of course, on Saturday night, revealing some great new songs and some old goodies. But at the same time, it is 17 fights from Miami to Newcastle to Leeds to Sheffield to the Troxy to Telford to Nashville to Houston. You know, we've been around. This isn't that this is all taking place in a backyard. This has happened all over the place, and it's been a wild ride. And we're accelerating. You know, we've got another show in 2 weeks' time in Newcastle. Great pro tournament going on there. We've got Elle Brooke, who's talked about KSI, talked about today, and probably the first female star of Misfits. But you know, saw her today. HS Tiki Toki, Danny Simpson. You know, who would have thought Danny Simpson, Premier League winner with Leicester, in a Misfits boxing ring? Danny Aaron's obviously a massive influencer in the football scene as well. It comes from all over, you know. We've got Gabe Silver and son of Anderson Silva. You've got Sami Hamed, son of Prince Nassim Hamed. It's just like...
Is that the beauty, that there's so many different... I know people call it the influencer sphere, and they might all be influencers in certain ways, but there's so many different people from different walks of...
You know, it is.
Kind of entertainment, sport.
And what you'll see now, you know, we sort of getting into our stride now in terms of doing these events. It's costing me less time putting them on, which means time to get up to other shenanigans. We saw the first couple of Misfits Pros signed. Watch that space. It's big money. We're in a very lucky position that we can invest. And Misfits Pro is something that, you're going to see MF Pro. The next, I'm not going to say too much, but you've obviously seen me sign 2 really good US pros now. You're going to see other sports. You're going to see a whole lifestyle part of Misfits that's going to be launched shortly. The whole brand Misfits is going to go. I mean, the base we have, the interest, the numbers it generates, just around interest, not even around the events around Misfits, is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's certainly been a wild 2 years. Some mad growth, some mad events, mad fights, and it would have been mad to see KSI in Dublin in the ring. We're going to see him on the stage instead. Not a bad replacement at the top of the bill at all. But because it's KSI, it will always take a hit if he's not inside the ring. That's just because he is the star.
Totally, but in this space, you've got to look at it like this, Oscar. Me and you come from a traditional scene. You lose your main event in a pay-per-view at the end of August, it's game over. Misfits was born on losing a main event on the first show because we had Alex Wasabi, KSI, sold out the O2 in London. Boom, overnight, Alex Wasabi pulls out. I'm thinking, right, okay, 2 weeks before the fight, not a chance. Sorry, lads, we're going to have to push this now, end of September, October. No, we got to go. I'm going to shot. I said, no, you don't understand. In boxing, when the main event in the pay-per-view falls out 2 weeks before, it's off, right? It's off. They come back to me. 2 fights in one night. I said, right, put down the Scotch, boys, yeah? It's not happening. So no, you've got to hear this out, right? He's going to fight once at the beginning of the night and once at the end of the night. I said, this is the most stupid idea I've ever heard of, right? I said, it's absolutely impossible that the main event takes place at 6 o'clock. You ever been in a venue at 6 o'clock in the boxing? It's us and the cleaners, right? There's 6 people in the venue and Oscar.
There's more people in the ring.
And Oscar and Parsons, if you're lucky, right? They're probably at the bar. But anyways, there's not many people in the venue. I've turned up for the first one. They had to close it because there was a roadblock by the police. Walked in the venue at 6:20, weren't allowed in before. The place is full to the last seat. The O2, right, is full. I'm like, right, this has got to be like some wind-up on me. Yeah? He's fought his first fight against Swarms, the rapper, won. Takes on the last fight evening. Wasn't a particularly great fight, the last fight. I'm thinking, right, everyone's going to boo this. Now, they've gone wild, right? Because it's about the entertainment factor as well. And it was like crazy to watch these 2 fights in one night. And at the beginning, to see 16, 17, promoters say 25,000 in the O2 doesn't exist, boys. It's about 17,000. But to see it,
you're the first promoter who's just been honest about
attendances. Been honest about the attendance of the O2. You cannot get 25,000 people in the O2. It is illegal, my friends, right? No, not happening, right? So no, even with the boxes full, it is not 25,000. 16, 17,000 in the O2 in London.
And that's how many were there
it's not
from
shabby,
minute one. It's not shabby.
At 6:21 was our first bell. Incredible.
So the fact that you could do that then just shows that now there was no need to flip things up.
I'm a traditional promoter as well. It helps when you have someone in his repertoire that is also, a chart-topping rapper, right? And on Saturday night, we got a rapper joining him from the States, and we will see on Saturday night. It's going to be a fantastic night of surprises, reveals. We got a comeback on Saturday night with a Misfits star that I can't say too much about, but he's headlined before and he's back in the scene. I can't wait for that Saturday night. It's going to be wild. It's typical Misfits. By the way, there's 10 things I don't even know about yet, and you don't know about yet, and you all don't know about it yet. That's why you're tuning to Misfits, because you don't know what's next.
It wouldn't be Misfits if there wasn't surprises. That is a fact. Look, can't wait. This place is going to be rocking on Saturday. Do you know what else is going to be rocking? 96,000. That's staggering.
Yeah.
96,000.
Went on
September 21st.
September 21st. Like, I remember when we did the press conference, was it a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and I'm thinking, what a card. Sitting up on that stage with all the names, it was just like, I thought, this is proper. Had World Boxing Super Series, what feels to it, when you had these, you've got great again. You know, every fight you're like, oh, that's super. That's the night though. Josh Kelly, Liam Smith. That's going to steal the show. Yeah. Josh Kelly's moment will come in front of 96,000 people. Even Liam Gallagher will be cheering him on. Joking, I'm sure he's she's Liverpool. No, he might be Josh. He might like Josh Kelly over Liam Smith then, you know. Liverpool, Manchester, not exactly the... Yeah. Anyways, I can't wait because Josh has been patient, been grafting. If you watch his social media at the moment, it's like the boy... He doesn't need to say much. You know, he is so in shape. You know, people have always knocked Josh. Oh, he's been between fights. He's up, down. You know, like, look at it. Look at the state of him. It looks like a fitness model. I guess Liam's watching that and thinking, right, I better put some sign into this camp. And believe me, Liam will be. He's a true pro. He's going to really see this fight as his chance to show that he's still there. So the storyline's there. Unfortunately, it's written in the stars, 21st of September in front of 96,000 people. There you go, Carl Froch. Josh Kelly will hit the big time.
Yeah, I mean, what a place, what a stage to do it on.
That's what I'm saying. But that's, I get...
I mean, he's a star, Josh Kelly, but this shoots him into...
With the Riyadh season events, you've got to say, like, the main event's great. But how many opportunities it gives... And Josh isn't like he's a, up and comer. Josh, everyone knows about since years. You know, the storyline is there, but it gives them the opportunity to have that breakthrough on such a big stage. And these are domestically very big names. You know, and that's really. I think that sometimes people overlook that part of. And I see it as a promoter who's brought fighters through for the last 24 years. That takes a lot. So this really is like putting on turbocharge what's happening September 21st from Josh Kelly's perspective. He's going to go out there and seize the moment. Carpe diem.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get the pleasure of seeing Liam Gallagher pre-Oasis reunion at Wembley Stadium as well.
Yeah, you can't make it up. I saw them at Earl's Court, I think, 4 times.
I was going to say, I know you would have seen them.
Yeah, I was mad.
I bet you was backstage for a few beers after.
No, it was back then I was queuing my mates. We got a case of Stella. The last one was very warm by the time we got in. Then we realised, because we got to the front, we realised, shit, you can't use the toilet. So 24 Stellas later. Not yet, shared, people. Don't get all wild now with their comments. Yes, and it was just Stella, people, before you start writing below. It was just Stella. Yeah. What are you waiting for? I don't
know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting
Stop
for you.
Stop the comments, people.
I'm waiting for you
Don't
to
embarrass
stop.
yourselves.
I'm waiting for you to stop talking about your drinking habits.
I know. Terrible, isn't it?
Awful.
What year was the Earl's Court one? I have to check. I have to look back. 96, was it? 96. I would have gone. It was around the Euros.
A shout from Oasis superfan Joe Pugh.
1997 as
well. Yeah. I did both. I remember. Yeah, and I saw them in Hamburg as well, but that was later. The 95, 96 was the...
Hey, bring on Wembley, bring on Liam Gallagher, and bring on the reunion. We were talking about Riyadh season. I know the talk's died down a little bit, but I just want to know if you think, obviously, they're making big fights, big cards, and there's a little bit of ridiculousness in some of the matchups. Do you think Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is a ridiculous matchup? So many varying opinions depending on who you ask.
Look, you've got to remember where Canelo started out. Yeah, so the fact he's ventured up to light heavy is phenomenal. Yeah? But let's not forget where he started out weight-wise. 6 divisions lower. So, Terence is a big frame. I see, if that fight can be made somewhere in the middle, and I get people saying, "Oh, catch weight," but no. There is a realistic way of doing that fight. I do think so, and I think it's a fight I'd certainly like to watch.
Yeah. Do you think eventually His Excellency and Canelo will work together? A lot of people who said they wouldn't have kind of succumbed in the end to...
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but in boxing, there's always a way.
Yeah. One more thing, Chris Eubank penned that deal. We haven't spoke to you since penned the deal with Boxer. Just your thoughts on kind of the time you spent with Chris and his next
Well,
move.
you know, the ex-wife has gone off and listen, I don't care what he wants to do, and you know, good luck. You know, I will always be a fan of Chris Eubanks personally. I like watching him. I think he's got to go out and do what he's got to do. He's just got to take the big fights now. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not really much more I can say to it. I mean, he's obviously got to tune up now, and you know, we'll see where that goes. You know, there are big fights. There's massive fights out there for him. I mean, on that hit list. Fortunately, you can go back and look at interviews of mine 4 years ago, and they're pretty similar names. Those names are always around, but we've got to get it done.